Good evening, Shaggy SoCal with 2Old4Forza, and time for the next track guide for TNT 37 Mazda MX-5 Cup. Again, we just came out of Sonoma, which was a very natural terrain road course, a lot of elevation changes, but a lot of undulations as far as some of the bumps, especially coming down the S's. Very, very challenging race course and difficult to find places to pass. Um, for this week, or for the next week upcoming, we are going to Suzuka West. So going from one natural terrain road course with some elevation changes and difficult to pass to another one that's got some elevation changes and natural terrain road course hard to pass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump straight to test drive and do the slow lap around Suzuka. Kind of talk about what I look for, what the car seems to want to do, and just kind of pass along what I've learned, and hopefully that helps you guys, practice and prep for the race next week, and have a good race. Let's get in with test drive. I'm starting way back here. Wow. Again, as we all know, this very very short pit lane. I forgot to time it last time I was running some laps, but I think you're only in the pits for like 20 seconds. Um, and then we'll talk about the pit exit here being very narrow. Coming down 130R, getting one of the tough corners, you know, out of the way really quick. You're going to be coming down here. What I'm finding with 130R, and I'm going to stop here for a second. You can wind, if you leave it in fifth, you can wind it up in fifth, and you might, if you've gotten a really good exit out of spoon, you might just be banging the rev limiter as you're getting to 130 on the turn in. I'm still trying to find the best way. I don't think there is a quote unquote best way to go through it. What I do know is you can't take it flat. So you've got to do some sort of throttle adjustment, though I don't really have to brake either. So it'll kind of be up to you guys. And I haven't found anything that works consistently, because if I try one method that seems to work, then a couple laps later I screw up and have to do something else. So you can wind it out in fifth and then try and find the timing to come off the throttle and pull the car through. If you want to take it to sixth, you might need to do so if you get a little bit of a draft, so you're not banging off the rev limiter too early. Then it's a question, and the one thing I haven't tried is, do you leave it in sixth through 130R? Do you downshift to fifth through there? So I'll probably play around with that a little bit in the test race and see what I find comfortable. But the reason I'm stopped here is, and again, I'm always looking for things where I can find them to kind of correlate with the braking line. Coming down here, what I want you to do is just kind of, look at the Armco that's going down the right side there, and you'll see where the Armco, you'll see the first light pole, and then just about where the second light pole is, you can just kind of make out where it looks like there's a little bit of a bend or separation in the fence. What that actually is the Armco gets a point. It now curves out to the right and then back straight, and that's kind of what you're seeing there. That's about, as I'm coming down this straight, I am looking for that spot. It's kind of hard to see, but if you just kind of look again where that second light pole is on the right side, and then just down where the Armco, you'll just kind of see the separation, the little kink there where the grass is. That's about where I'm trying to kind of spot and get in my peripheral vision. If I can't see the braking line, that's about where I'm going to be coming off the gas and turning in. So again, coming down here, you can see the bend a little bit better there. So that's about where it bends. So you're going to be braking somewhere right about in here. I'm saying braking. You're going to be coming off the gas somewhere about in here, and starting your turn in. I'd say if you've not turned in by the time you're getting to this light pole here on the right, that's just out of view in the center of the screen, you're too late. So off the gas again. I don't know that I've got a preference. If you have it in sixth, if you're coming off the gas, you might need to roll back in a little bit. Same thing for fifth gear. the weird thing, I would say weird thing, or the way this car seems to handle is it's got a lot of front grip, or it's got more front grip relative to the rear. So what I've been able to do with the car is it gives me that ability in a turn like this where you want to cut the curbing a little bit. Depending how quickly you come off the gas to make the turn in, you can induce a little lift off oversteer. You'll feel the back end start to slide out a little bit. Um, it also, depending on some of the sharper corners, you'll be able to stab the throttle and maybe get the tires to spin up and then get the back end of the car to rotate a little bit where you need to. So that's where this one's difficult for me to say do this, because I haven't found anything that works consistently. What I try to do is to get the car turned in and try and cut onto this onto the rumble strip a little bit. It's a risk. It's a risk of getting a dirty lap, but you want to be able to do that. What's been happening with me lately is my exit is bringing me out to about here. If I've done it right, ideally the exit of 130R, you want to be neat and tidy and keep it on the racetrack. The rumble strips here, it'll happen to me in the race because I'm going to push. I'm going to push a bit to see if I can induce it. You hit the rumble strips on the outside here, it's going to bounce the car. There have been times where I don't know what it is with how this curb is set, but there is a sharp bump here that if you hit it a certain way, the car's just going to pitch sideways a bit. It's I'll see if I can you know make it happen when I'm racing. But yeah, try and keep it neat and tidy. Stay off the rumble strip if you can. As you exit here, you'll start to bring the car back to the other side. This is one of those I have not found, and this is, I've not found any, I've not found anything really that stands out as far as an additional, braking marker, whether it's a pole or something in the grass or like that. So it's kind of I wish they'd have braking boards on the left here, but they don't. So this one, you're just going to have to fudge it. It might be, and just kind of looking at here, you might have to keep an eye on the gray tarmac there where it ends. Might be a good thing if you can't see the braking line. Other than that, find where, the edge of the grass here where you got some, bald spots there. You might be able to pick out something there. Again, if you can't see the braking line to know where to brake, try and find something else that works for you. This one, the braking line, at least in my experience, is pretty accurate if you want to brake as soon as you're getting into the red. Now for me, for these next two turns, again, the way I brake is I'll be on the brakes, hard on the brakes, threshold braking. I'll start turning the wheel and arcing the car in to try and cut this apex here. And what you'll see me do, and again, this is kind of back to, the front tires, you've got a lot of front grip. So figure when I'm about at this point with the controller, I've got a decent amount of steering dialed in while I'm still on the brakes. What you'll see happen is just as I get it here, I'm going to let off the brake. And without, I'm, at least with the controller, I'm probably going to be full over to the right anyway. At that point, once I release the brakes, it'll free the wheels up. All of a sudden, you see the car the front grips up and it just turns. So I don't know for you guys with the wheel users, if that's something that you have experienced, in what you're doing, or just know that as you're on the brakes and you're starting to dial that steering in, when you come off the brakes, whatever steering you dialed in, the car's going to now really start to turn with that. So just pay attention to it. I do try and cut that curving as much as I can. In some cases, risking hitting those tire barriers, but I find that that's the best way through there. Again, this is almost a double apex corner to a certain extent. You are going to bring it out all the way to the left. This next corner is one that I routinely brake too late on. So what I'm looking for here on the left side here, you can see where the curbing ends with the green marker there. I actually want to do a quick dab of brake before I get to that green. And as I go past the green, that's then where I'm going to start to turn in. This corner, it's a little more than 90 degrees, I think, when you look at it in the track map. And so you do want to cut the curve there and bring it out across. If you're late for it, it's not too bad, but then you're going to be a little slower coming out, and you might leave yourself open for someone coming up alongside on the right, heading down to Degner 1, I believe. So, on to the next corners. The next corner is definitely called Degner. I've heard them refer to it, these next two, as Degner 1 and Degner 2. Don't ask me what Degner means. I have no idea. So coming down here, braking line will appear very late. But one of the things I do look for is this loudspeaker that's kind of right in the center underneath the mirror. That's kind of the point that I'll kind of find and get in my peripheral vision as I'm coming down to this corner. Because I know that as I pass that loudspeaker, that then I need to think about getting the car turned in for Degner 1. This corner, you can take it flat. It is possible. What's the probability that you're going to be able to do it? Mid to low. What I would say is, if I was doing a hot lapping thing, oh yeah, I'm going to try and take this flat out every time I can. But you have to get the turn in right. You have to get the line right, so that you don't get shot out across the track and wind up in the gravel on the left side. This is a corner where, kind of again, using the throttle to help rotate the car, since you've got a grippy front end and a wiggly back end. If you find that if you make the turn in, you're on full throttle and you make the turn in, you think, oh, I'm late, just come off the throttle immediately and then back on. You'll feel the back of the car will rotate a little bit, and you can roll right back into the throttle and on you go. Similarly, if you ease off or you ease off in, you might stab the throttle a little bit. This one, it's too high speed where I don't think you can really spin the tires coming out. If you need to do a power oversteer or oversteer. But generally, I think in the race, it's just going to be a small lift of the throttle to get it to the apex, and then you're right back on the exit. But there will be a nice little bump there. So heading down to Degner 2, a little bit sharper of a corner. When I was hot lapping, we had a hot lap challenge here last week in a B-class car, and kind of looking at, I was kind of using the Armco on the right. There's another one of these cases where it's slightly bent, so you can kind of see where it's discolored there. But that's about where I was using as a reference of I need to start braking. But this one is a bit done by feel. It will be a downshift. I believe I'm downshifting to third here. But this is another one where I'll be brake, and then I'll release at the last minute, and then the front tires will just turn the car through the corner. Again, onto the apex, out to the exit. I do use the exit curves here, and then once I get when I get the smooth stuff, then I'll move it back over. Up the hill, the camera that boom there is a good indication of where you want to start turning in. Maybe right about before. Line will be pretty good here as well. Again, I like bringing it so that the exit lines me straight up along the side here. And there's several different lines you can take through here. For me, the one standard is to bring it up along. The one that seems to work for me best here with this car is to bring it up here, do a late brake, and do a late apex. And the car just seems to respond that way. It seems to roll out of here, I think, in second gear, maybe third. Engine doesn't seem too logy. It seems to I don't lose a lot of traction coming out. One of the other ways, let me actually show you all my nifty tricks. One of the other things I will tend to do, bring it back over here, is if I'm going to be sneaky and I'm coming up on somebody that I know brakes a lot earlier than I do, or if I just want to be a little bit defensive, As I come in for braking, instead of braking parallel to the right side of the track, I'll actually do a braking diagonally, really starting the line right about where that pole is, braking across so that I intersect the apex here. So again, might be something to play around with. Again, if someone breaks earlier than you normally do, you might be able to sneak a move up the inside. Just it's a bit risky. They might turn down on you if you don't get a fully alongside. But if you do happen to kind of get alongside at the apex, really make sure that you're leave some room on the outside, just so that you're not running people off the track when you make kind of a dive bomb move like that. Um, and then the last variation is similar to similar to the cut across is if you totally blow this corner, you're carrying way too much speed. It's going to shoot you across here to the left side. Fair enough. Just get on the brakes and then just hug the inside of the corner. So normal line coming out. I usually just bring it all the way out to the right side and leave it here, going into the nice curvy backstretch. Once it kind of passed that opening there, again, I'm just going to kind of follow just the tire tracks on the road. Kind of tells you where the natural racing line is. So this is almost like a straight with two apexes. But certainly as I'm hitting to this point, I'm going to keep the car to the right side. And with the braking line, I'm kind of depending on the car. Usually, sometimes I use that truck over there as an additional reference. I think with this Mazda, it's really this access road. Is like if you can't see the braking line, you can see where that access road is here. Use that. You definitely want to brake by here. I am, and full disclosure, I'm using 200 brake pressure, so I don't know for you guys that are using something less than that. Don't know how that will impact your braking, but definitely by here if you can't see the braking line, that's a good reference to use. Again, sometimes I'll use the truck, sometimes I'll use the tents there, but you've got plenty of things to kind of look for if you can't see the braking line. Or when you're practicing, if you're practicing on your own, you find you're getting under a rhythm, start expanding your vision out. Hey, I know I'm braking here, but what else can I correlate with that? And that'll help you in the race. So now we get to the last difficult corner, spoon. Double apexer. Coming in here, I'm in fourth gear. And this is another turn that I'm finding, again, the car has so much front grip once you get it slowed down. I'm used to trying to control the car and having it slide out. This one, I'm finding I'm getting way, right back full throttle out of here with full, at least for me, full steering lock. But the idea is I'll be back on full throttle, fourth gear. Now, the brake and turn in for the second part of spoon starts with, you can see that the green, you see the little green tab, I guess, that's kind of on the gray, exit tarmac there. That's what I'm using to really as the additional reference for when I'm braking and starting my turn in for the second part of spoon. I'm in fourth gear at this point, and this is the other one, kind of like 130R. I don't know what the best way through here is. I think it's going to be up to you guys. So, I'm braking here, and I'm in fourth gear, and I actually try to take a late apex through here, where maybe I'll be apexing about here, and my intent is to exit and bring the car out to the right side, right where the exit curbing starts. So it's actually, the exit curbing is a really good reference where you want the car to be. Again, kind of like 130R. I don't really want to get on this if I can help it. You might be able to get away with a little bit, but a lot of cases with the second half of spoon, I'll probably carry too much speed through, or I turn in a little too early, and I usually just kind of wind up like at the edge right before this curbing starts. So play around with that. I think if you get it right and you've got good momentum through there, fourth gear should work. It's kind of that weird thing of where I think fourth gear might be a little too, in most cases, a little too low, but third gear might be too high. I think you'll have to play around situationally. I think on my own, fourth gear would work fine. If you're in traffic, maybe the guy in front of you goes off at the first half of spoon, goes off on the right, and you have an opportunity to sneak underneath for the second part of spoon. That maybe downshifting to third helps you get a little bit better control and drive off. I think the hard part for me getting into third is when to shift. It's with me on the controller with the manual clutch. It's a bit awkward for me to kind of shift mid corner, or again when you're in that when you finish this first part of spin and you're out there, I'm still kind of steering a little bit. I don't know if it's better to shift back there or when you apex the second part of spoon to downshift to third there. Again, play around with that. It'll be up to you guys and what your pace, what you're comfortable with. But once you're out of that, it's just row back up through the gears onto the front straight. So that's kind of a lap of Suzuka West. Kind of slow. What I look for, what my general intentions are to put a good lap in. But let's go ahead and just see what the race looks like. Let's drive. And we are going to do 23 laps. That's Suzuka, and playing around with the AI. Again, for the B-Class car, it's tough to find AI that, as far as to get the right AI to race against, at least to have, obstacles to pass and kind of try and simulate a race. So again, let's see, this week, we're going to have nostalgic drag racers kind of holding up the works at the front. We'll see how well they do. They'll be fast in a straight line, horrible in the corners. In my bucket 2, we'll have the sport touring icons. And in bucket 3, in front of me, will be vintage GT racing. I think these guys are going to be way quicker than me. My hope is that, since they don't do well in traffic, then I might be able to make up some of that time. So we'll see what happens. And info, 23 laps. Start the race. This is where, you would think I would have some sort of canned, track facts to talk about, but no, I don't. And Suzuka, lovely track to lap, but just not the best one for passing, or at least prime passing. We'll talk about the best places there. I think the most obvious places are obviously, the sharp right-hander after 130R is their prime place to set up a pass. The hairpin is the other prime place to pass. Other than that, everything else is kind of, I think, it's not impossible to pass, but certainly you're going to, your opponent is going to need to make a mistake or be really slow out of a corner. Like Degner, I wouldn't necessarily pass anybody going into Degner 1 or 2. But if I can set up out of Degner 2 to get to the hairpin is probably what I would look to do. But see how the race plays out. Cold tires. Oh, and the late. Hang on a second. That's normal. Okay, I'm just really bad. But it's like, that's not how to do the opening corners on your outlap. I'm not diving to the apex as much as I was. Ooh, just got the right sides on the grass, almost unsettled the car a little bit. That looks like I had some offs from bucket 3. Down to 4th. Pull on the gas. And see, I'm a little bit late there. It's not horrible. If it was lower in the rev range coming out, I would say definitely go to 3rd. But it's kind of borderline right. It's almost too low. I'm going to do this in 6th this time. Yeah, you're going to be bouncing the throttle a lot through 130R. Gear. See if I can do this flat. So it is possible, but again, it's going to be a long race, so I would just do a quick breathe of the throttle. There we go. Oh, try that one again. So again, 5th gear, I was still on the throttle on the turn in. And just lifting. Oh! Ooh, it was almost disaster. Then just lifting a little bit as I got close to the apex, just to give the front a little more grip. So I'll stress it again. 130R, don't need to brake. It's going to be release of the throttle at some point, and just balancing with the throttle through there. This time. I was having problems with that last night, so maybe 3rd is better out of spoon. Been a little early there. And again, it's just a nice general rolling into the throttle coming out of the hairpin. You don't need to, you don't want to get stabby with the throttle and spin the tires and lose time. Not a light speed. still think I'm turning in a little early for the second part of Spoon, but not horrible. Turned in a little late, had to back out of the throttle a bit. That was the coming off the throttle there. I was trying to get the back end step out. You can get on the power right at the apex there. Nice. Right. That was a little early on the turn in. American. I'm flirting with that line. At a parade. Ooh, that was dicey. Nice pass, but he's just going to go around me on the outside. Oh, no, he's not. Oh, that's right. Forza AI. Pretty easy to spook him. There you go. See if you can watch how much this car in front of me leans. Three wide. Nope. Won't be able to have to be on the outside here. I gotta be careful just in case, because the AI, when they go to pit, they brake way early and, like, I don't want to say right in the middle of the road, but it could be a little further over to the right. That's gonna be the other thing too, is just you're gonna want to carry as much speed as possible through 130R, but be mindful of the people that don't. And certainly, if you cut the track and you're going to get a penalty, don't hit the brakes there. Just suck it up, take the penalty, keep going. Ooh, there, somebody went off. I'm going to go ahead and hit this lap and see if I can. See if I can undercut some guys. I'll do that in the end of lap as well. Maybe it's a 6th gear if you got traffic in front of you or drafting, and then downshifted to 5th for 130R. Excuse me, pardon me. Oh, he's there. Oh, maybe not. Oh, look, I got a pit. Gonna beat the Mustang out? No. That's the other thing. When you get released, just be ready to start steering because it's going to point you straight towards the wall. And just to minimize risk, use as much of that pit exit as you can. And that was a dive bomb. I'll admit that. I kind of stabbed the throttle coming out of the hairpin there and spun the tires up. Probably not the quickest way to exit the hairpin. Dinger 1's going to be not an easy place to stick a pass. expecting you to upshift. Well, you did, but very slow upshift. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The AI going into the pit lane is a bit treacherous. Okay, we'll try that again next lap. There is just a touch of brake. That's what I've been doing wrong. Now that I had to brake for. This machine is already dead. That should not have worked. You can just hear the back tires just starting to let go. There. This is the one that's more important. I don't know if I'll get a good test down here, but I think it's just downshifting. No, the back gets a little too unsettled that way. Too much liftoff oversteer. Look at that thing lean like a drunken sailor. I was talking about that's a risky move to make. If the guy doesn't know you're there. Uh-oh, Shelby's behind me. Oh, go faster! You still had to pit. Okay. Ooh, that was risky. They- The 130R, you have to break it all. It's barely a brush. by this guy and maybe one final clean lap. Probably a good enough distance away that I'm going to get a really big run on him. Oh, maybe not as big as I thought. I did that because I know it's an AI and I can get away with it. I don't know that I would do that in the race itself. All right, one lap to go. See if I can beat a 29.7. Right there. Oh, 4/10 off. I don't think it's gonna. And that is the track guide for Suzuka West. And 37 laps. So I did 23 laps with a quick stop, and it took about 36 minutes. So, double that. You guys could be looking at 46 laps in and about. Maybe a few more, maybe a few less, but it's a long race, and kind of like Sonoma, it's there's not a lot of places to take a break. Certainly not a lot of places to drink. So you've got a week. Work on your drink, bottles and like that, so you can just have it right there with the straw in your mouth and suck on it when you need to during the lap. But that'll be it for this evening. You guys have a great weekend and happy racing.